I think in a sentence that Britain is stronger, safer and better off in Europe. There are huge advantages to our economy of being part of the world's biggest marketplace of 500 million consumers, the trade that brings, the investment, the jobs, the lower prices in the shops. I think our security is enhanced by working together with our friends and allies on the continent. And I think Britain's influence in the world is enhanced by having a seat at the top table of European politics as well.
I mean, people will be voting on this on the 23rd of June. How much do you think people understand about what they're going to be voting for?
I think people understand that it's a big decision. I would argue it's the biggest decision we'll take as a country in a generation. But what I do hear from a lot of people I talk about is that they want to hear more information. They feel they don't have enough information to make a decision just yet. And that's the responsibility of you guys in the media, but of the campaigns, both our side and the Leave side, to get that information across to people, to get those messages across to people. And we've got a couple of months in which to do so.
I mean, it will be a very long-running campaign, 6 months by the time we get to the actual decision on the 23rd of June. I mean, do you think it's all a lot of hot air? I mean, one party says something, another party says the other. It's a lot of conflicting arguments.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's politics. That's generally what happens in political campaigns of any sort. Some people say one thing, other people say another, and it's an important debate, and I think people do want to know what's the impact going to be on our economy, what's the impact going to be on jobs in this country, what's the impact going to be on prices in the shops, how much it's going to cost me to go on holiday this year, what's the impact going to be on the pound. There are a lot of questions. We've got to do our best to answer them, and hope shows like this will help. And
how much do you think this is becoming a campaign about personalities? You've got David Cameron on the Stronger In campaign, Boris Johnson on the other side. They're just a lot of the time making comments at each other.
Well, look, I think it's a lot bigger than just internal divisions within the Conservative Party, and I hope people would see it for that. We're very proud on our side of the argument that we have a huge breadth of support. We have the Prime Minister and most of the Conservative cabinet, but we also have the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, Plaid in Wales, most of the parties in Northern Ireland, the SNP are on our side of the argument. And we also draw support from people who are not involved in politics at all. The trade union movement, trades with 6 million members who've come out on our side of the argument, environmentalists, scientists, students, universities, businesses large and small are all saying that we're stronger in the European Union. So we're very proud of the fact that we've built a broad coalition of support on our side of the argument in comparison to the other side, which is primarily made up of UKIP politicians and politicians from the right wing of the Conservative Party.
And like you said there, yes, lots of parties are involved, but at the end of the day, the faces of the campaigns is what we are seeing a lot of the time. Recently, David Cameron did spend £9.2 million of taxpayers' money on leaflets, persuading people that we're better in. Boris Johnson called this crazy. I mean, is he not right? Could this not have been best spent elsewhere?
It kind of relates to the last question, doesn't it? People want more information. I think the one thing that everybody says, regardless of what side of the argument that they're on, and the government has a position. Boris Johnson doesn't like it, but the government has a very clear position. The government is firmly of the view that we should stay in the European Union because of the economic, security and global influence benefits that it brings. I think people expect their governments to explain to them why they take positions, and so to do so, the government produced a leaflet explaining to the people that elected it, every household in it, why they think that we should remain in the European Union.
And so how will businesses and the economy benefit from staying in?
Well, I mean, look, don't take it from me. Take it from the huge variety of economic voices out there, whether it's the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the OECD yesterday, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, London School of Economics, the Treasury themselves. They're all saying the same thing. On pretty much every single economic measure you can think of, we're better off in. It boosts trade, it boosts jobs, it boosts investment into this country, it lowers prices. If we left, the pound would take a beating. would go up, interest rates would go up, trade would fall, investment would drop off a cliff, jobs would be lost. There really is no economic upside being setting yourself off from a 500 million strong marketplace on our doorstep, of which we are an integral part. But we have control of our borders. We're not part of the borderless Schengen system that operates in much of the rest of mainland Europe. We check people in. We can stop people coming in who are undesirable types in this country. And look, people in this country also have legitimate concerns about recent levels of immigration. But I think British people are also a pretty fair-minded lot. We think if people come here, work hard, pay their taxes, make a contribution to our society, they've always been welcomed in our country, and I hope they always will be. And there are people from the EU making an enormous contribution to this country. There's over 120,000 people from the EU working in our health and social care service. So I would say to you, what would happen to our health and social care service if we couldn't draw on the expertise of doctors, nurses, people who do fantastic work in our care homes from the European Union? I don't think it would be a good thing.
Okay, and I mean, you may be aware of today, a group of economists have for the first time publicly backed the Brexit, saying that exiting the EU, the economy will be boosted by 4%. I mean, isn't this not something we need to listen to?
Well, unsurprisingly, I'm going to disagree with you there. I mean, these are the only economists that the Leave campaigns have been able to find, and they're 8 individuals making an argument compared to, as I say, the sheer weight of economic argument on our side, whether it's the IMF, the OECD, the Treasury, the World Bank, the governments of all of our allies in America, France, Germany, our own government, the Treasury. You know, it's not an equal weighting. They've managed to wheel out 8 economists from assorted areas, and all the rest of the weight of economic argument is on our side. I'd pick out one of those economists, Minford from the University of Cardiff, who has said himself that if we leave the EU, that would eliminate manufacturing in this country. He doesn't seem to think that's a problem. I do. That's 2.6 million jobs in this country, and I think it's a rather blasé attitude from these economists to say that they don't mind that manufacturing would be eliminated. I think in Birmingham and elsewhere that would be viewed as being a terrible thing, because lots of people in the region are very proud to work in manufacturing and proud of the British heritage in manufacturing that we've long had.
So you're saying, like Birmingham and Midlands, we're going to be stronger here economically in the EU?
Unquestionably, there are people across the Birmingham and the Midlands who will know. They'll work for businesses, particularly in manufacturing, but also in other areas of our economy and services, who will know about the benefits of being in the EU because they'll see it every day in their work. They'll see that they are able to trade freely with Europe, that the stuff they make is as easily sellable in all the rest of Europe as it is in the UK. They might work in supply chains for bigger firms who do a lot of their trade in the European Union. And I'd imagine they'll be very worried about the impact on trade of leaving the single market.
Okay, and just touching on as well Barack Obama's recent visit to the UK, was he right in coming over and telling us what we should be better doing?
I think he was very clear that this was a matter for the British people. He wasn't telling anyone what to do. He was giving his opinion. And look, he's the president of the United States. He's the leader of our closest ally. I was certainly interested to hear what he had to say, and I think there are a lot of people out there who do want to hear what our friends and allies think. And he was very clear that it would be bad news for Britain, bad news for Europe, and bad news for America, all a triple whammy, if you like, if we left the European Union.
And just finally, staying in, what is it going to mean for us? I mean, what's going to change?
Well, I would hope that there would be further reform in Europe, as I think most people on my side of the argument do, to make it more accountable, more streamlined, better targeted at the things that it does best. But I think what you'll see is it will continue to add to prosperity in this country. It will continue to help create jobs in this country. It will continue to help keep prices low in the shops in this country. It will continue to allow us to attract investment from all over the world in this country. And I think the main economic benefits are the things that we will all get and all benefit from. The Treasury say it's worth about £4,500 to every household in this country, our membership of the European Union. And I don't think that's something that we should let go lightly.
Brilliant. Well, James, thank you very much.
Thank you.